ahead.
I'm Lainey.
And I'm Laura Beth.
And we are Steel Magnolias.
Two sisters who love family, traditions, and all things Southern.
We've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair.
Hey guys, Laura Beth here. Listen, before we get this episode started, I wanted to put a little caveat in front of it, just to let you know we tried something really different on this one. We actually recorded this episode while on our way home from Kentucky. That's right, we recorded this while on our road trip in the car. We wanted to do that because we knew the energy would be fresh and we would be full of excitement and fun things that we wanted to share, and we didn't want to have to wait a couple of days to do that. So, while it was fun to do, the audio is definitely a little subpar from what we're used to providing to you guys. So, if you're a new listener, I hope you'll give us another shot, for audio content, of course. But if you are a faithful listener, thanks, and thanks for all that you do to provide great feedback to us. We're so encouraged. And without further ado, here's the next episode of Steel Magnolias.
Yeah, so we had a blast. We had a power-packed, fun-filled 48 hours, I think is about what we will come out to. And we had a 2-night stay, one night in Elizabethtown and one night in Lexington.
That's right.
Took us a little while to get up here, though.
There was a frustration in the ride up in that we hit traffic we were still in Tennessee, but almost to the Kentucky line. And apparently there was a couple of different accidents, and we sat for a little over an hour.
But here's the silver lining. We were packed for a tailgate, so we had a cooler full of all kinds of sandwiches.
Wonderful food.
And yummy Southern food. So we actually went ahead and got into that on Friday afternoon.
That's
and
right.
ate lunch in the car.
So no lunch stop other than an interstate dig through the cooler stop.
So we, from Nashville, decided we would go straight to the Willett Distillery. We had a 4 o'clock tour, which, because of the accident, we missed by 15 minutes.
That's right. We got there at about 4:15, 4:17.
Wow.
Yeah, bummer, because we weren't able to do the full-blown tour, but we were still able to do a 5 o'clock tasting.
There you go.
So, and that was only $10.
$10 we got to taste 3 different pours, which I thought was a
very
great price.
fair. Yeah. So at this particular tasting, you start out. Everybody tries the Willett Bourbon.
Yep.
And there was how many in our group? 12.
I think she did say 12. Yeah.
And Tammy, shout out to Tammy, was our wonderful guide through this process. And so anyhow, we tasted that one, and then on the second pour, you had options.
Yep.
They give you, I don't remember how many choices, maybe four-ish choices.
4 or 5, yeah.
Told a little bit about each one. You got to pick what your choice of those 4 were. And then on the third pour, it got even more complicated because there was probably, 6 choices?
And they all sounded really good.
And they all sounded good. So,
yeah. We actually maximized each tasting because we would have just a sip and then trade. So we got
technically we got to taste
per round. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more. And our friends that are with us did the same. So we all got to taste at least one taste of a little bit more. And sorry, Laura Beth, on one of mine, I did not even mean to do this. I took my taste and started to hand her the bottle or the shot glass, and I was embarrassed because I didn't realize how big my taste was.
Well, by faith, that's actually the one I purchased.
And it was
good.
Really good. So this one we both liked and both purchased was called Old Bardstown.
Yeah.
Bottled in bond. So you could only get it in Kentucky. We thought that would make a good purchase.
Yep. $22 price point, which is very fair.
Yeah. That is I was even wondering if I should have gotten more, but
I got one for a gift because that's a great gift. And a good host gift, if anyone's still always looking for ideas for host gifts. And, yeah, I would say I would definitely go back and visit again because I thought, there were probably others that I'd want to taste there. The distillery is in Bardstown, right? That's where we were, which is bourbon capital of the world. So if you wanted to go back, you could hit other distilleries.
You could maximize that whole area and hit several different distilleries if that, And Bardstown, we've mentioned before, is a cute downtown area with cute shops and restaurants. It's a fun little town in and of itself.
If you did make it to the tour, it's either $18 or $22, depending on the tour you choose.
Which tour you pick.
I think they're both about an hour. No, one was a half hour, one was an hour.
Yeah, that's right. One other shout out to a particular bourbon that our whole group really liked. We're not sure if it was, I can't remember if it was Rowan's Creek or Rowan's Creek. I think Rowan's Creek, which is literally a creek that runs right by Willett and Heaven Hill. You're really close to Heaven Hill, by the way.
Really
If
close.
you do Willett, you could so easily do Heaven Hill. So that would be one I would purchase again. It was a $37 price point. Really smooth, nice.
Yeah. We all liked Noah's Mill.
Yeah.
I think that was about $37 as well.
Yeah.
That one was really good. I would buy that if I was going into another one. They had a good gift shop too.
Cute gift shop and nice people. That's definitely worth a stop.
Yeah, I think anyone that offers price points from $22 up into the
60
range has got it going on for tourists, because those are good that you can, if you want to take a collector's, purchase home for yourself, and then you can always find, gifts. Yeah, so
that was a really fun stop.
That was a good one. Good stop. Glad we went, and I definitely go back and recommend it to others. Just really pretty property. You mentioned that it's so close to Heaven Hill. I mean, it's as close as when we were driving over, we thought, okay, what's the Heaven Hill property and what's the Willett?
Yeah,
because
that
close.
The rick houses you can kind of see them from one another. So, anyhow, that was fun. And then our next stop was one of my dear friends from college. She and her husband hosted us in their wonderful home. They take hospitality serious at this house. The Holmans. Thank you, Holmans.
Thank you, Holmans. And actually, when we did our episode on guest rooms, we pulled a lot of information from Laura, who hosted us. So she's definitely got that down.
Yeah, did y'all notice there was daffodils and with vases sitting around different places? Like, she's got lovely soaps and just... Yeah.
Everything's supplied. There were accessible towels. The sheets were all freshened, and
she's very thoughtful like that. And they enjoy getting to open their home. And we had a wonderful Southern meal in their home
that they had spent some time on.
Yeah. So Jim, shout out to Jim Holman, had put a wonderful Boston butt in his big green egg at 4 a.m. and shredded it right in front of our eyes with his rubber gloves on, and it was superb.
It was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell us about the sauce that we loved that we ate on that.
So we used she had a variety of sauce choices, but there's one called Pappy for Sissies.
So good. It's a mild sauce.
It's mild, and you can use on a variety of meats. I actually bought some with Laura at the Lodge outlet in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
So you can find it in different places, and it's not anything to do with Pappy Van Winkle.
Right, good distinction.
Since we're talking bourbon, but it's nothing to do with that. But it's just a yummy, mild sauce that I'm glad to have some of that at home to get into again. So, yeah, and then as our rest of our meal, in case you want to plan a wonderful Southern meal around a Boston butt, Laura made I thought this was interesting, faux potato salad. So not potatoes, it's made with cauliflower. If you think that sounds gross, hear me out. I didn't miss the potatoes. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, so she's doing keto, which is why she decided to do this. So even if we've got listeners that are trying to cut carbs and cut corners with sugars and, do the keto-style diet, this was a great substitution for a potato salad. So much so, I might try it and see if somebody
noticed.
notices.
It was so good. She had that. She had coleslaw. I had brought baked beans. Yes, they had bacon and brown sugar in them.
Yes, they did.
And what else?
Well, we had old fashions.
Yes,
that you had batched beforehand.
So I batched old fashions. I'm not sure if we were going to do them on Friday night or Saturday, but I was grateful that I had gotten that done. So I used a bottle of Maker's Mark for these old fashions. And here's how I did it. I took 2 ounces out of that bottle and drank that as I made my simple syrup. I made simple syrup and put 2 ounces of simple syrup back in the bottle.
Oh, so that's all of the simple syrup that was in there?
Yeah.
Just 2 ounces?
2 ounces.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And I put 32 dashes of Anastoga orange bitters.
So good.
And shook it up. That's it.
And that was pretty brilliant to travel with it back in the
And it was so
Maker's Mark
easy
bottle.
that I traveled with it in the bottle. So at Laura's, we had another bottle of Maker's Mark. And so I wrote we put an O on mine to know it was the old-fashioned already mixed because they're sitting side by side.
We had good ice. Important.
We had big, nice ice cubes. I also tried, did you guys try the Old Forester that she had?
I did not.
She had a bottle of Old Forester, and so I tried that. That's a good bourbon for that price point, too. I can't remember. It's in that not too crazy high
Okay.
price point. So anyway, I did try that, and then we, as a group, finished the whole bottle of the Old Fashions. But that was our Southern meal on Friday night.
Yep. Got some good sleep, rested up for the races on Saturday. So we had about an hour drive from Elizabethtown over to Lexington.
Over to Lexington.
And it was wild. I mean, people for days. Now, we went in the fall. We went to the October fall meet.
And it wasn't the first weekend of the fall meet, so that made a big difference, too.
Definitely felt the difference in the
crowd.
opening spring meet, or opening day spring meet. And we're saying opening day, I mean, technically it opened on Thursday.
Right. Opening Saturday.
Opening Saturday, yes.
Saturday being the biggest day of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday races.
And, I didn't see a lot of pomp and circumstance is what I usually call it in the fall, because there weren't a lot of hats. There were nicely dressed attendees, but I wouldn't call it dressed up per se. There was a lot of people dressed up.
There's a lot of people dressed up for the spring meet. I'm sorry, I have a cough. Pardon me.
That's okay. We would see, hats, florals. We saw
Fascinators.
We saw some of more than what we wanted to see.
Short dresses is what she's trying to say. Really short dresses.
There was a lot of college-age kiddos that were there yesterday.
Kind of funny, actually. Like lots of cigar-smoking
22-year-olds.
22-year-olds. Lots of bow ties on the guys.
But it's
bright suits, which is kind of fun, I think, to see those bright suits and
oh yeah, it's so wonderful to see
men dressed up
in their just classiness. Very classy.
Classy shoes, classy. Yeah, I love that.
So let's tell them about what our spread was at our tailgate.
Oh, we did have a nice spread. So, well, for starters, I batched again, so it would already be ready. Because traveling with alcohol and mixing drinks it's hard.
Yeah.
It's just easier to batch it. I'm not saying it's necessarily makes for the freshest, but I batched Southern Comfort with champagne.
That was so good.
And then
did it have a splash of something else in it?
Well, no, it was just those two things.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It did have bitters. I put bitters in that, too.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but a little bit of bitters, of the orange bitters. And then I had this lemon rind that I left a little bit of the juicy lemon part on there. And so I ran it across the rim and threw it in. So it would have a little lemon, just a little. And that was nice it was 10:30, so
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready for anything too strong.
Exactly.
And that's how we started our 10:30 morning
That's
tailgate.
We had sausage balls.
Yes,
We had pimento cheese.
of course. Kentucky hot brown sliders.
So good.
We had so much. A spinach onion dip.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful curry chicken salad.
That was yummy.
We did have veggies galore, snap peas, carrots, cucumbers, peppers, to dip in all of these different things.
Yep. We had, what was it called? The beef chip.
Oh, yes, on Hawaiian rolls.
We got into those on Friday as
That
well.
was part of Friday's lunch, the beef chip wonderful spread. Gosh.
We had bread pudding.
Yes, that was wonderful. Shout out to Christine for the caramel sauce and bread pudding. That was wonderful. I tried a new recipe that I will share just a touch on because it's going in the trash. The recipe is going in the trash when I get home because
Maybe the
here's
rest
why.
of them are as well.
No, I think it tastes okay.
It did,
I'm just going to say it tastes okay, but it was a little bit, tiny bit complicated, and the ingredients were expensive. Do you guys know what I mean when you splurge on ingredients and it's just okay? It's frustrating.
It is.
So it had fresh vanilla paste in it that, you're digging out of the vanilla bean. That was an important ingredient. And then it had a half a cup of bourbon and brown sugar, a whole bag of brown sugar.
A whole bag of brown sugar?
Well, a small bag, the 16 ounce, not the 32 ounce.
Okay.
So, anyhow, I thought it was going to be so off the charts flavorful, and I didn't think it was. It was moist enough. It was
very
bourbony
moist.
enough.
Yes.
But I just don't think that's a do-over. So, thank goodness for that bread pudding with the caramel sauce, because that was the sweet wonderfulness that we needed in our tailgate. We had fruit. We had a nice spread. In fact, we invited some of our neighbors to come eat as well because we had more than we needed for our group.
We did. There was lots of good people watching.
Lots
just hanging out.
Yes.
People playing cornhole. I just loved. That was a moment where I was like, I just love this
Tailgate situation.
I'm going to go into the races and I'm going to have a whole different kind of fun. But if I, for some reason, didn't get to go inside, I would also just love to hang
Not
out
call
here
that a lose.
in the
It's still a
parking lot.
win.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's people that do that at Keeneland on the Hill,
Yep.
where they'll just go and eat from the food trucks and play cornhole and maybe even place bets. There's betting up there as well, but they're just there to enjoy each other, and they never even make it to the race. So there's just like SEC football games or any other things that you may go to where there's tailgating. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to the event.
That's true. So did we say that we were amongst a record-breaking
We have
attendance
not.
crowd?
The attendance was knocking on 35,000, 34,775.
That's amazing.
Which was a record for Keeneland. So, and we felt that in the crowd, I'll say.
Yeah.
I spent a lot more time. We ended up being a group of around 8.
Yep.
And then I saw one other person that I knew. So, but with that many people, for me, it was more about conversation this time. I didn't do a lot of looking at the betting, and I did bet, but not a lot. And let's talk about that, by the way, too.
Yeah, so when we went in the fall, I got schooled from the betologist, which we mentioned on our Keeneland episode, to make sure and talk to a betologist. And I thought he had some great tips. I got a little bit too consumed with some of his recommendations last time, because I went time and time again, race by race, in the fall. I was going to exacta box, meaning I was picking the top 2 horses in either order, or exacta box picking first and second place in that order. And that was fun, but I just felt like I kept getting burned, like I would get one of the 2 right. And so I changed my strategy completely this time, and I mostly placed put in win, place, show, run of show to some bets. And so, I don't know. It seems
Well, it clearly paid off because she was the big winner of our group.
Well, I put in a bet that, based on my wording. I actually placed a higher bet than I meant to, but it was already totaled up, and the cashier was asking for my money at that point. And so I came back with my head down low to our group and told them how much I had just spent on a bet, which was about 3 times more than I meant to spend.
You were hoping to put in 10-ish and put in...
I put 33.
30-ish. So, but the good news, because she did mess that up, the good news was, talk about your winnings that you didn't also expect.
I picked 4 different horses, and 2 of them were in the top 3. So that ended up being a horse that had 42 to 1 odds.
So awesome.
And so I won $150.
So
which
fun.
was great.
That is so fun.
Now, when you start taking out, what you spend on concessions and drinks and other betting, we don't have to talk about what I actually netted
You're not
out with.
up, but you were up though.
I was up,
whereas I was not.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I just consider it entertainment cost.
Oh, it's so fun.
But yeah,
it is funny though. I mean,
we had 2 other pink winners too in our group, and so that's fun to see.
But I definitely didn't know it was going to be that total. I thought I had won like $20-ish, so I didn't know how to do the math correctly.
That's so fun.
The cashier hit a couple of buttons and it popped up, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And she said, "You didn't know that was what you were getting." I'm like turning around to tell the whole line how much I just won.
And then I came behind her and had a winning of $2.80. $2.80.
Yeah, when you say 280, that really could easily be 280 there.
Easily.
We saw winnings in the thousands, not amongst our group, but it is possible to win big.
So, yeah, we had a wonderful experience. I didn't hang out much at the paddock either yesterday, just because I was spending more time talking with people. But we've said before, you can get close to these horses, closer than you're going to get at a Churchill Downs or something.
Much closer.
So it's a neat experience. Big fans.
Yeah,
of
and
Keeneland.
then even crowd-wise, funny enough, you actually heard someone ask if that was a crowd close to the numbers that you would see at the Kentucky Derby, which of course it's not. It would be maybe a third of what...
Less than it's even more than that.
Yeah, so the Kentucky Derby would have a little over 100,000.
Yeah, and even just around it, it's a lot. This was really easy. Really easy to park and tailgate. You're not a far walk. There are even, I think there's some shuttles, at least for handicap.
Yeah. That's the beauty of Keeneland, is it's like a bite-sized, very doable way to go to a horse race.
That's
in my
right.
opinion. And beautiful. I mean, gorgeous grounds. We've talked about, or maybe we didn't talk about on here, but I will mention, they have their first ever music festival coming up in August, and they're calling it the Railbird Festival, which Railbird is somebody that
hangs out on the rail right up by the dirt track.
And that'll be a big event for them. So that's in August, and we put that on our Instagram if you're looking to see the lineup for that. But, it's a gorgeous piece of property.
Well, we're headed on, let's see, after Keeneland, we stayed in Lexington.
Yep.
We were pretty cooked after that. We went to a cute little place with some of the friends we met up with at the meetup. And it was a greenhouse, and it was called Kentucky Native Cafe.
Right. Yep.
And just a cute place to have a drink and a chat, picnic tables outside.
Very cool.
Cute little place. We had a good night's sleep, and this morning got up and had a breakfast, and then we made our trip to Woodford Reserve. Yeah, and I think what my favorite part of Woodford Reserve is where it sits. It's literally in the middle of just beautiful horse farms.
Yep.
So as you're driving there, the scenery is spectacular.
So pretty.
So you're going literally through Ashford Stud Horse Farm, which is the home of American Pharaoh and many other beautiful thoroughbreds. So it's just a lovely drive. I was glad it wasn't raining when we did that.
Very green. Did it remind you of Ireland?
It reminded me a lot of Ireland.
Yeah.
And Coolmore is an Irish-owned horse group that owns Ashford Stud, so it's even kind of funny. I'm sure there's familiarities to how that all looks in their homeland as well. But anyhow, Woodford Reserve is a great stop.
It's on the official Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yep, and we've mentioned this before, but there is a passport you can get if you want to hit some of these distilleries, and it's a cute little marketing technique because you get stamps on your passport at these various distilleries, and
that's exactly what it is. It's a marketing
it
technique.
totally is, but it's fun. And when you finish the whole passport, you send it in for a surprise, usually T-shirt or some kind of glassware.
You don't even know what it is.
Well, it was a T-shirt, but she was saying sometimes now they've changed it up and it changes.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, so I don't know what the next. I don't know what will be.
You've got the shirt. What's your shirt say? Do you
My
remember?
T-shirt is in the shape. It's got a design that's the shape of Kentucky and has different barrels of the different places. It's cute.
It's fun.
Kind of a burgundy color with yellow print, so it's unique looking and it's cute. But yeah, almost a badge of honor that you did it, I guess.
That's so fun.
So anyhow, Woodford Reserve, we decided we would not do a tour, but just a tasting there. And
Also $10.
$10 for the tasting. They had a 1 hour and a 2 hour tour available at Woodford Reserve. But we felt like we made the right choice when,
Yes, we did.
on the particular circumstances of the day, these tours were out and it started pouring down rain. Most people did not have umbrellas with them. We're seeing them out walking and getting soaking wet. And they actually ended up having to call them all back inside. They couldn't finish because of the lightning that was happening. So, felt like we were glad to be undercover drinking.
We were on the porch.
On the porch having tastings and watching the rain and hearing it. It was actually quite lovely.
Yeah. So we got to taste 3 different bourbons, and we had a great host, Kathy, who walked us through really more of just not only the bourbon overview, but really making sure we've had a good understanding of how to incorporate food, I thought,
in the
into
tasting.
So we had a little chocolate bourbon ball that we were using as part of our tasting, but she said, or did we hear on the website, there's even more like things that they describe.
That they do. It seems like they have some good events. There was even an event happening, I believe it was tomorrow night.
That looked awesome.
That looked awesome. It was $25. You got 2 hours with the master distiller, and there was hors d'oeuvres, and it said cocktails plural. So, I mean, it means at least 2.
Yep.
And, anyway.
More cocktail choices. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyhow,
so
it looked like a fun event for $25 a person.
They do events year-round, and you're in the area. That might be something worth checking out.
See what's available.
Yeah. Great gift shop. What else would you say about Woodford? I mean, it's beautiful. Like, the main lobby area is just really pretty.
Nice fireplace, place to hang out. They had a little cafe. I didn't even look at the menu, but anyhow, nice stop.
That was a good stop. And I got my first ever passport stamp, so I'm off.
Excited about the journey of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so good trip, and we're headed home and the rain has stopped. I'm grateful for that. And
so I would say definitely, if you can't make it to the spring meet this April, go ahead and think about coming in October to Keeneland, because it is such a great
It really is
place.
a great little trip.
And, are we there yet? Kaylee?
We have backseat
Calm down.
friends, and Kaylee Kaylee and Christine have had quite fun and made their own purchases on this bourbon journey as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of gift bags in the back of this vehicle right now. It's a good trip for purchases.
You might want to put that one picture up. We have a picture of the back of the vehicle that's pretty funny.
I know.
People
I
might
did.
find that funny.
I think I put it on our story.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for listening. We will be back here next time with all kinds of topics on all things Southern. We've gotten some really fun ideas for topics that some of you guys have submitted.
Yeah.
So we're going to start looking through some of those and incorporating them into future episodes. But if something has come to mind, make sure and send us a message on Instagram or Facebook or send us an email.
What do you want to hear?
Let us know what kind of Southern topics you think would be fun to discuss. All right, guys. Is that it?
I think that'll do.
All right. We'll be back on the road again, but we will catch y'all here next time.
Thanks. Bye, guys.